How you guys doing? And as you know, the beta is right around the corner, so that means what is the best starter to pick? And if you're new to Godforge and you don't know, you have the decision at the beginning of the game when you start up to pick one of three rare heroes. One is Guan Yu, one is Lady Xoc, and one is Ramses. And we're gonna go through each one of them and explain what they do better than the other and what is their kind of little gimmick difference to them, because you'll notice one key thing with all three rare heroes: they share very similar skills but with honestly different debuffs. So with that little spoiler and knowledge there, smash like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to, you can join a Pantheon, which is basically an alliance or clan on Godforge, with my link down below. And if you do, you will come to the Raven Pyros website, which we'll be using today as well, just for the newbies, for all of the buffs, debuffs, and disables potentially. That's going to be in for us, but just to tell you, it's just debuffs. And then we've got our Pantheon page. So yeah, if you want to join a Pantheon where we've got over 457 members in Discord talking about Godforge and other mobile games too, come and join us, because we have everything from competitive to casual to absolute hardcore degeneracy as well all in here, plus a plethora of different content creators. So if you just want to get a bunch of different Godforge content, you're going to be able to absorb it all here as well. So with that, smash like, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive into today's video, right? So, firstly, Guan Yu. He's the one we're going to talk about first, because I have managed to play with all three in Alpha Wave 1, 2, and 3, and actually completed all the levels with each of them in a fully rare team, as well as just using them as the rare DPS within the teams, and it all works, right? So they are all capable in the tower experience we had to actually fight in the long game content, as long as you gear them right and you have some good pieces around to enable them. Guan Yu is going to be the one we're going to start off with. It's a lot easier to understand, and once we understand Guan Yu, you'll realize Lady Xoc and Ramses is much easier to understand with just their keyword difference. So the way this hero works is the passive first is going to give it away. We inflict 20% increased damage to people under drain, and drain is going to be the key word that you do. So on the core, we can attack all enemies with a 25% chance to strong hit. That just means we get an amplified damage, a bit of damage on that attack, but an 80% chance to place drain 2 on each target for 2 turns. Probably wondering what the hell that is. It's a really good debuff that you can have in the game, because drain allows you, the hero receives 20% increased damage and attackers heal for 20% of the damage inflicted. So if you're under drain, you're taking 20% more, and whoever hits you is gain 20% lifesteal on their damage as well. So as a DPS, it actually provides sustain to your team. So even when you're trying to hit really hard, well, that damage is going to come back and keep your team alive and push through the content. It is a very good, valuable sustain tool for any team. The basic is where his actual damage comes out from when someone is under drain. You attack one enemy for 395%. But if they're under drain, you inflict an additional damage equal to 5% of the target's max HP. And the thing is, when you equip gear like the Avenger set that allows you to counterattack, or other heroes and gods in Godforge that can get you to join attack, just as an example like Sargon, you can actually start doing multiple instances of this 5% out of your own turn, which is really powerful, because that's a lot of damage even in boss fights, and as you can probably guess it, the clan boss itself. So this hero is actually a pretty good hero for dungeons as well as through campaign. So if you're looking for a PvE really good pusher, super safe, sustain, honestly, Guan Yu is gonna be that guy. When we look at his ultimate, just to finish things off, he attacks 4 random enemies and has any chance of an enemy dying, you get to place Faith up 2 on this hero for 2 turns. And if the enemy is also defeated, when you awaken 5 this hero, your core ability comes off cooldown by 1 turn. So you have more uptime on the drain too if you're able to finish up on the kills. Faith up is really interesting because it's going to increase your faith gain. This is how you generate your ultimate in the game. So the more faith you have, the faster it will turn up, right? As you'll notice here on the leader bonus, we have 20% attack. This is very key now because when we look at the next heroes, they all have the same. So you're never going to lose out on this. The only thing that's about to change now on any of these commanders in the game is these skills, and that's what I wanted to kind of go through. So now, since you understand what Guan Yu is about and you've understood how I was explained, he's a PvE monster. Honestly, pushing through campaign, pushing through towers, going through even like your clan boss most likely and certain other bosses. He's a good DPS as a rare. He gives you good damage output. He gives drain to you, so your invokers and your team is actually having sustain and helps out on that healing side. And he's just generally a very solid DPS hero. So Guan Yu is there straight away. Lady Xoc. Now, next on the list is a new user, but you'll notice some common themes here, and we'll start again from the passive because it'll make more sense. The passive is you increase your damage inflict, very common theme, by 2% though, for each stack of bleed. So this hero is all about bleed, and bleed is a new debuff, and instead of drain, what bleed is going to do is inflict 1% of max HP at the start of that hero's turn, and you can get up to 10 stacks of bleed. So if you can get multiple bleed users in the game, and if you click on the Raven Pyrus website, you'll see there is a lot like Fenrir, Dracula, Zippy Totek, Achilles, Minotaur, Frecky, Lady Xoc that we've seen, Forkel. All of these heroes already are doing single target damage, and then there's AoE as well on here with the armor set as well that can give you bleed. So you do have access to bleed to get multiple stacks is what I'm talking about. So she is going to be able to get then more damage for each of those stacks. That is a 20% increase in damage at max stacks. Core attacks all enemies for 310% with a 25% chance to strong hit, just like Guan Yu. But the difference is 80% chance to place 1 stack of bleed on each target. When we look at Guan Yu and look at the numbers, you will see he does hit harder, meaning this does amplify more, but you're sacrificing that for the drain, because Lady Xoc will have that bleed potential on each target, which will deal damage over the long term of the fight. When you look at her basic, she attacks 1 enemy, 1 chance to place a stack of bleed. So you can follow that up, hopefully, and try and get either a join attack in or a counter attack in, and she is going to get multiple stacks of bleed now onto that target. When you look at the ultimate, you attack all enemies 2 times. If an enemy is defeated, you actually get speed up 2, which is a very powerful buff because this does allow your Lady Xoc to kind of take over the fight and kind of become part of the spotlight and get these bleeds going for your team. So as you can see here, Lady Xoc is a bleed user. It's all about bleeding the enemy dry until they die, literally. And this type of playstyle is actually really safe in a multitude of different content that I experienced, which was like the Golden Guardian and even into just big boss fights that you would generally fight in. Even in Fafnir, bleed actually could do a decent amount of damage, but in alpha it was capped. In beta, you're getting access to way stronger epic and legendary heroes that can really sky high the damage out potentially. So Lady Xoc is going to be this hero, as you've guessed it, that actually hits pretty goddamn hard. She's actually pretty darn good in all content. She's actually not too bad in PvP because if you bleed the targets, it's just damage over time, and that might actually win you the fight. Really good in these types of long grind dungeon fights potentially, and she can easily farm and clear campaign as well. Just like Guan Yu can with the drain, he can clear campaign and obviously do everything else as well. So you'll notice these two are very similar in what they do. One is more sustain orientated. Lady Xoc is more DPS orientated. So that's all of their kits covered, right? Now, the last one, Ramses. He is the last rare user, and you're going to notice a very common theme again, which is going to be how the kits are set up. Passive, 20% increased damage to people under acid. So this is the new keyword that you're going to be playing with. So acid disables armor sets, which is actually very, very powerful, as you can imagine. And it actually deals 5% max HP damage to this hero at the start of this hero's turn. If they've got a barrier or a shield, it actually doubles up and does 10% max HP to really pump down those shields. So Ramses here is just like Lady Xoc, just like Guan Yu, doing the exact same thing, but with acid now. So attacks all enemies, 315%, 25% additional chance to strong hit, with an 80% chance to place acid on each of the targets for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy on the basic, again placing acid for 2 turns for 385%. The ultimate attacks all enemies 315%, and if the enemy is defeated, then increases the turn meter of this hero by 30%, which allows him potentially just to snowball out of control quicker and burst through waves. And if an enemy is defeated, reduce the core cooldown by 1 turn. Just the same as Guan Yu has the exact same one. And if you look at Lady Xoc, she also has the same one. Like the leader bonus, all 3 have the same. So now we understand, hopefully, all of their kits. We know all of them have got a double AoE through the core and the ultimate. They all have one big strong attack. And basically, one is doing acid, which is your Ramses. Then you've got Lady Xoc, that's doing your bleed. So there she is. And then Guan Yu doing your drain. And there he looks, right? So which one should you pick? And the real answer, and I'm going to be honest with you, is whatever one you really, really think looks cool and you're feeling the vibe of. Because that is the honest to goddamn truth. These starter heroes, even though they are very, obviously, powerful in the early game for you, because there's your starting rare hero, you're going to be able to get them quite easily, right? And you might actually find a Lady Xoc quite soon, or a Ramses if you pick Guan Yu. And you'll realize you're actually going to get access to each one of them quite early on in the game, which is quite fair. But if you're trying to mid-max, if you're trying to pretend that maybe you don't get a Lady Xoc or you don't get a Ramses, what ones would I pick? So if you're aiming to be a little bit of a campaign pusher and actually want to try and excel in a little bit of PvP, Ramses, I think, would be the obvious choice. The fact that you can actually push through a bunch of campaign is going to be really well and easy, because you've got acid with all this damage, which all of the others share. What's really good too in certain longer fights, maybe not in dungeon battles, but definitely in certain fights, you're going to be able to use acid to obviously trickle down the enemy over a long time. So if you just need to sustain and shield and sustain and shield, the acid is going to do the work with the Ramses, which is fair play. But in PvP, you're going to have this hero that could potentially just stop the enemy's armor sets. And stopping armor sets is going to be a really big, powerful power move, as you guessed it, in PvP, because that could change this whole tempo of a fight just with the core ability. So I do think Ramses does have that PvP edge if you want to try and go for that in the game. Guan Yu though. Guan Yu, I think, is my more favored choice. He gives you sustainability, and his self does a bunch of damage from the basic, which is actually really impressive. And the fact that this is maximum HP means, in theory, you gotta think, you gotta do 5%, do another one, and then it's 10%, then another one. At some point, they're gonna have to die, right? And because they're gonna have to die, this is really good in between damage. So even if you just do a cold steal and then your main DPS that you might have found, like a Beowulf as an example, comes in and does all this burst, at least you know it's gonna turn the clock down a bit sooner and you should be able to kill whatever you're killing easier, right? So really do like Guan Yu for the ability to push and do big amounts of damage, especially in boss fights, and the fact that you get drained too. The fact that you get drained too is just a really good early game sustain tool, especially while you're waiting and trying to get your gear that has the sustain for you. And in order to do them, you're gonna have to have your team able to sustain throughout a fight, especially in those dungeons, and climb down the levels to get the better level gear, right? So I do have a lot of kind of love to Guan Yu in that retrospect. The thing is, Lady Xoc is still an option for people who have potentially a really strong support already, and they don't really need the drain mechanic. Lady Xoc is going to do just what Guan Yu is going to do, but at the same time, she can, at instances, finish things off a little bit sooner, right? Having that bleed damage ticking and doing 10% all the time actually does add up, and it does melt through bosses as well, and it can clear through any of the content. The only issue is it is just bleed, so you're going to want to try and work towards this. And the cool thing is, as I'm going to showcase, you can work towards any of these three heroes with just some early game pickups. So if you just jump out now and just showcase some, you've got Shishi as a really good example as a defender that you can grab. Allied defenders join in with the basic attacks. You can go for this really cool combo. Also places taunt on enemies. Slayers places shield on them, which is really nice. You could actually go down into the Occur faction and even pull Sargon, which is a good rare hero that works with both Lady Xoc, Ramses, and more importantly works better with Lady Xoc and Guan Yu because he has access to the random attack early on. And even if you get these random attacks 30% of the time on your Lady Xoc or on your Guan Yu, it is going to ramp up your damage output while giving you an attack down too, and giving you shield and a radiance all inbuilt. So even early game, you've got those options for just kind of like those tanks. And even for someone like Lady Xoc, you can try and find heroes like Achilles that is really, really excellent at just single target bleeding. So if you're only against one unit and it's a big boss, he's kind of your guy. But you also have other units like Zippy Totek, another amazing bleed user that can place multi-stacks of bleed with your Lady Xoc, and that's going to get your stacks up really high. You've also got Forkill that's going to be doing the same thing, right? And even when you play Ramses, the beautiful thing about Ramses, and I think anyone will tell you who has had experience on him, you can play him with anything. He's that good. But one really cool combo is Ramses with Tutankhamun. Many people really did like this, or even Ramses with Ankh-Samun, because Tutankhamun here is going to place a bunch of curse, which is reducing all of the enemy's potential incoming shields and heals. So that means if that's on them, their shield is hit by 25% less, and then our acid is coming in and doing more damage, so it goes through. So as you guessed it, if you are using Ramses, is actually a really good counter to actually shield meta and big shields and stuff, because he can combo with early game rare heroes just like Tutankhamun, or even someone like Ankh, what a lot of people really did enjoy to keep your heroes up and keeping, you know, everyone just alive, basically. It was really, really good as an alternative option. And it just gives you the capability, or I'm trying to show you the capabilities that each of these star heroes, Guan Yu, Lady Xoc, and Ramses, no matter where you pick, early game, campaign, you're going to have fun. Early game, campaign, tower, even probably dungeons. You might be able to get away with using all of them but you will realize, for example, Guan Yu might scale a little bit harder and better in the clan boss, for example, or in certain dungeons. But when you look at Lady Xoc, she might be even better in certain dungeons or even the tower. Ramses, really good in the PvP, right? So all of them have their overall gimmick, which is acid, bleed, or drain. And it's up to you as a player right now who's watched this video, and I've given you all this information to choose what you reckon is your best starter, because at the end of the day, you can pick whatever looks the best for you, because all of them look really cool. Some people really like Lady Xoc's designs, and that's why they've gone for them. Some people like the fact that you get the early game sustain through drain. I love that, so that's why I go Guan Yu. Bleed, really good if you want to go for those teams. And acid, really good if you want to go for those teams. So comment down below if you are still struggling on which one to pick. But if you are looking for a safe choice, I will always recommend Guan Yu. I think 99% of the time, you cannot go wrong with Guan Yu in your team. If he's in your team, everyone's surviving, he's hitting hard, and you're covered in all the content that you probably want to complete, which is all the PvE that's going to be in Godforge. So, there you go. There's my verdict. Let me know what you think down below. And if this is just your first time looking at a Godforge video, check out down below my creator link. You can sign up to the beta right now since it's about to start, or it might have already started since you might be delayed and you're a late bloomer and you're watching this video. So if you are, it is what it is, but make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and until the next one, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky, peace out.